morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay. Now, do you say Tuesday or Tuesday? Tuesday.
not Tuesday, but Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Morning, everyone.
It's the day after Monday, the day before Wednesday. At least we agree on that.
Do we? If you believe in the construct of the calendar.
Yeah, we had an actual timeline question earlier. See if, what if a 25-year-old, 35-year-old, and 45-year-old Paula all showed up at the same time? Did I kiss them all?
It's a good time.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I'm just wondering, am I allowed to kiss all three? But you can't kiss three J's.
Did I have you a J?
Rules
or...
for me, but not for these.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm obviously preparing myself for Canadian politics. But good morning, everybody. Hopefully the lighting is good.
Morning.
I think everything's looking good. The studio's almost done. Those keeping track, outside unit for the heat pump, and I think we're done.
Yeah, well, my job is done. My last big project was the staining.
Well,
so the rest is
cleaning. I can see it from
cleaning. Woman's work. No, it's true. You call it lady work.
No, you call it labor. You say you're my laborer. Yes, you are. You can help. I got the inside unit. Oh, it's a bugger. You got to be careful not to bang the pipes and stuff. It looks good. Looks good.
But you're a dab hand now installing the heat pump. You've done, this will be the third? No, 1, 2.
Yeah, third.
No, 2 at the old house.
2, no.
There
was 1.
There was 1?
There's 3 outlets. 3 heads,
yeah,
but 1 outside unit.
Yeah,
so I consider that 1. 3 pieces to it, though.
Yep. And then
the bedroom, the kitchen, and downstairs. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of that one.
Yeah, you should be. You did a good job.
Yeah, so those keeping track. Outside unit, tidy up that corner, and we should be good. The studio is back together and it was done.
You didn't move the chair out of the way, so there's a whole bunch of dust and sawdust on the fabric that I have to scrub off. Thanks for that.
Definitely not AI. This is not an AI conversation. Clearly, I messed up and left the chair there. I did notice it shortly after.
Oh, thank you. Did you move it out of the way to make less mess?
Done.
It was done.
The hole was already dug or drilled. So that was the end of that. So there you go. But anyways, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I was quite impressed. Yeah, good job.
You like a handyman?
I do. Jason knows which end of the hammer to swing, which is great. I know there are some men that don't, and you have probably other skills, but Jason's got them.
Take away their man card. You got to be able to throw a hammer around. Be like a handyman and a handsy man. Good for me.
good for me because I'm both.
Yeah. But good morning, babe.
Good morning.
It was not a bad start today. Got up a little bit early. Got things ready. Things are looking decent around here. Almost done.
Decent. That's my word. Yeah.
I hate that word from you. You're not decent. You're great. I don't like you calling me decent. How are you today?
I'm all right. Pietro, are you both planning on putting something else in the background? No, I think a giant TV is sufficient. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe
so we got an Alberta flag.
Stick a shelf up or something.
Yeah. Well, Pietro, here's the thing. I do interviews in here as well. A couple one-on-ones are coming up soon. And then we can have up to 4 guests in here. Not sure. We might get a Levine sign done by the one Tony. Might do one of those, but not sure, Pietro. One thing that if you send us something, then maybe we'll put it out.
Depends what you send.
Yeah, we got books. They're starting to pile up here as the guests come on and stuff like that. Like McGinnis, we have Jeff Willerton. He's been recorded. Theo Fleury's been on a few times, and we got an author again today. It's gonna be Nadine Wellwood talking about her book today. But we got a couple of hats. Is that cool? I don't know. But let us know if you want anything specific.
Yeah,
I'm cool either way.
Are you?
So this may be the last time you see Paula on the show. No, I was kidding. I'm gonna do this without you. But how are you doing? You're doing good.
Yeah.
You excited about your day? No pig escape yesterday to report.
No. Trails with Wilbur are going well because we took him out and he went for a walk a couple of times yesterday, and no, he's finding his feet. Dogs love him, like Cece loves him. Anytime he stops to graze, Cece's there to sleep beside him. Okay. But no, life is good. And he'll get some more exercise, be walking out again. And the goal is this: once he gets used to the area, the perimeter, have at it, my friend. let you out in the morning, see you during the afternoon, and see you at nighttime.
He gets more attention than I do.
Right now he does.
Yeah.
Right now he does.
Paula goes, our friend's bringing over some apples. You want some? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm in the mood for an apple. Then the anticipation built up, and I got all excited. My little tail wagged, everything. And she shows up in her bunch of these little crab apples, and they were for the pig.
Yeah. And I didn't know. She said, like, my friend just went apple picking, and I've got a whole bunch. Do you want some? That's all she said. I'm thinking, okay, sure. Because it didn't make any something. Do you want some for the pig? I've got some for my pig. Like, nothing like that. So I thought, oh, apples, and she's sharing. I thought that was great. She comes out with big, giant muscle bags full of, tiny apples. I was like, oh, he was so excited. He came out to say, like, oh, I'll greet the apples too. And but you helped move them to the shed, which is nice.
Paula's picking up apples today, just so you know. Because I was looking forward to that. I like a good apple. But there you go. That's what you guys all tuned in for. Got up early,
welcome.
Got your tea and coffee to hear about the apples, the
pig,
and the
heat pump. Yeah.
I would. I think it's kind of fun. But good morning, everybody.
Yes. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Yes, I guess the background keeps it neutral. Yep. We like plain and simple because
minimal.
We've seen what cluttered can look like.
Is that a dig at my old set?
Yes.
It
was a dig at your old set. There's like lots of stuff to.
You could date my shows based on the background and the set. Like, oh, that's there now. That means this was after that event. Or there's the media pass from the UCP event. Or there's that bear chasing to kill. The little cubs up in the
the Father's Day gift, which turns out to be not really true to life.
True, if that's a male, that male's killing those little guys. But anyway, that was cute. But yeah, you can almost date when things were based on the background, especially if you go back to the early ones. We had a window.
We had a window with glass.
Yeah, that thing broke one day. But no, it was a lot of fun to build a set. You saw it mature and evolve over time, but I like the minimal look personally. It's less distracting for me because I have a little bit of OCD. I get distracted easy.
Squirrel.
But well, you're still tuning in there, Petro, so we'll leave it that way for now.
Oh, Becky's coming in hot and heavy with some headlines here. A couple of things. Did you hear about Tej Johansson, the volunteer coach from Sylvan Lake, that's not far from here, who was fired for TikTok speaking out about trans ideology? No, but I'll check that out.
I did. Rebel's covering that one. I have a love-hate relationship with Rebel. I love Rebel and their efforts. I don't like every Rebel for other reasons, being sued by Ezra. But anyways, definitely did hear about it. Yeah, Sylvan Lake coach, football or something like that, one of those sports. But this is where we want to see people like Danielle Smith stand up. This is where we want the school boards to be replaced. Paula would not have endorsed any firing of any staff for speaking up.
Correctamundo.
So there's a little plug there for what ward? Ward 2?
Yeah, Ward 2, Wild Rose School Division, school trustee. The elections are coming up October 20th. Here all
over Alberta.
Yeah, all over Alberta. So please, you can, in some areas, you can vote for your school board trustee. I'm aware that in Cochrane you can't, but here in Brazeau County, yes, you can. So that is something I'll be speaking and promoting about when I'm out and about, saying, did you know you can vote? So please take part in all forms of elections within Canada. Please do it. It's very important.
And if you live in the Sylvan Lake area, or that's your ward or division or district or whatever, maybe now's the time to go put your hat in the ring. Because if they're doing that to staff, definitely it seems like maybe we need different people on that board, ones that will fight for this kind of thing to not happen, and fight for freedom of expression. Government's not supposed to interfere. It's annoying when you get into your private life. It's annoying for us when these woke people bring their private life into the classroom. It doesn't belong there. But when people have a private life outside the classroom, outside the school, that's where I don't think the school boards or the schools belong either. But anyways, that's kind of my opinion on that one. But yes, I did hear about it. It's not very cool. And thanks, Becky, for keeping us up to date.
And speaking of Rebel News and what they put out there, they sent out their Rebel News truck in support of Councillor Lisa Robinson in Pickering a couple of days ago. And they were just highlighting some facts that they felt that the public needed to know about her situation, what current Mayor Ash has done while he's been reigning as mayor of Pickering. And so that was out and about on X and Facebook as well, I believe.
Yep. No, so again, I like Rebel news for the most part. Not every single piece of their business model I'm a fan of, but overall, they are doing some good work. I just don't like all the rebels.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
And of course, it's personal. Yes, it's personal, but it is very personal when you're sued twice by somebody who's coming after your family and your home. So, we'll be dealing with that. Hopefully, I'll have some more news for that soon. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the tweets, the posts, the X.
Morning, Martin.
Is he there?
Martin's there.
How's the horse? Hope he's fine. Okay, so we were at the Alberta rally at the Whistle Stop. We went there. It was last weekend, was it now? Or the weekend before?
It was a long weekend.
Yeah, so not the one we just had, the one before that.
Right, yes.
Right. Okay, boy, these weeks are going by quick.
Yes, they do.
So we were there. I did a little speech, very short one too. There wasn't a lot of people there. Now I understand there were more people throughout the beginning because we kind of came at the end, the last day. It was good to see some familiar faces and make some new friends. But do pay attention to freedomcalendar.net. Max does a lot of hard work, not just maintaining a calendar for you to know where these events are and when they are, but he also goes to them, records them, shares them, and I'm really impressed with his work. He's out there a lot. He's burning a lot of gas.
Yeah, good guy.
And spending a lot of time. So support him. I'm pretty sure there's a donation link on his website. If you can, give him a tip of your hat. And he is the brightest bulb in the shed.
Brightest bulb in the shed.
He called me out on that, and sure enough, there it was. I said that not the brightest bulb in the shed.
Yes.
Maybe that's a new saying now. We'll make it.
Should it be though?
Why not? Detective Helen Gruz. So Friday, the closing statements and submissions were done. There's a lot of push from the defense, Bathsheba Vandenberg, making comments like there is evidence that has been withheld during this hearing. This tribunal is trying to conceal evidence of criminal negligence. I agree completely. When I was watching the hearings, there was a lot of shenanigans going on. This particular hearing is going to get ripped apart. Hopefully someday by international press, and take a really close look at it. Netflix should do a series on this. There's so much that was wrong, improper, and definitely harmful to Detective Helen Gruz on this one. And it's not over yet. I am expecting the decision to be not in her favor.
Yeah.
Just based on all the decisions up to date on by this hearing officer, Chris Renwick. He has not been a justice guy at all, and he shouldn't have found her guilty to begin with. So we definitely see where this is going.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I definitely want to put the pressure on the OPS for this one, and I do in a little bit. Thanks very much to Barry for hanging out with us. That AI conversation really stoked our chat. And do you find it odd that one day that we had an anti-cell phone conversation, that phone shut down like 4 times?
Yeah.
And it hasn't done that since? Interesting.
Yeah,
Very
surprised,
interesting.
not surprised.
Shock. All right, so Bruce Party, his interview is really, really popular, folks. If you haven't watched it yet, go do so. It's been really popular. A lot of people are paying attention to it. He's got some great ideas. The whole episode's good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a couple minutes here for you, a little bit of a highlight about the Constitution and how we can flip the default to change how the Constitution works and who is governed by it, really. Because it shouldn't be a document that gives us rights in any way, shape, or form or grants us anything. It needs to be the other way around. So I'll play this quick little clip for you. 2.5 minutes. It's our good friend Bruce Party. And by the way, he's joining us tomorrow.
Yay.
So tomorrow morning, he'll be joining us. There's a couple things that he wants to kind of update us on his interview. And then we're going to get into some issues in Canada that he's highlighting, especially around Indigenous rights and how they're being abused. And I don't mean abused in that the Indigenous people are being abused. They shouldn't have these extra rights. So let's we'll get into that tomorrow morning. But for now, here's the clip.
How do you design a constitution differently so that the elites sitting on the court are not the ones dictating to everybody from now on how far your rights go?
All right. So how would you change that? Because when I talked to Brian Peckford, Honorable Brian Peckford, he says the charter has been abused because it went from God-given rights, which he really thought people would understand, that God is supreme, to what I would call government-given rights. So when people look at the charter, the way they interpret it is, here are the rights given to me by my government. Would you flip that model so that it's restrictions on government versus restrictions on the people?
Yes. So yes. So this is a very good first step in imagining a new constitution. The constitution that we have now is built in this way. It has a default, and the default is the state can do anything. Its powers are unlimited. It can provide for the general welfare. Now, there are divided jurisdictions between the provinces and the federal government. That's fine, but that's not what I mean. The state as a whole, if you include the federal government and the provinces and all the other bits of the state's powers are unlimited, except for those rights as set out in the charter. So it's unlimited except. Okay. And what I've been suggesting is there might be a way to reverse that default. Instead of saying unlimited except, say the state has the power to do nothing. It is powerless except. Because there are some things you want a state to do. You want the state to keep the peace. You want the state to protect you from invasions from outside, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to make the state completely powerless because there's no point in having it then. But if you establish that as the default position, the state can do nothing that's not specifically listed here. And that if there's any question, if it's not listed, then you can't do it. If you do it that way, then you actually don't need a charter or a Bill of Rights. Because instead of carving things out of that unlimited amount of power, now the state's only allowed to do certain things, so you don't need to prevent it from going further. So that's one of the ideas about how to approach a newly envisioned constitution.
I really like him. I know Paula likes listening to him as well. But Bruce has got some good ideas. I like the way he presents. And I like this a lot. Because when he first, he talked to me about this before we did this interview. It was on one of our episodes. I think we had him as a guest when he first brought this up about flipping the Constitution, flipping the rights so that you're granting the government rights, not the government granting you rights.
That's right.
So finally, the tail is wagging the dog. But the way he articulated it there, it's very, very good. The Constitution by default gives the almighty powerful government all powers. And maybe that was a mistake. Now, there's some people out there that don't quite fully understand this. They're like, well, this is what the U.S. has. This is how no, they're not.
Yeah.
They also have a Bill of Rights, which is granting the people rights that are protected, which implies that if it's not there, the government can do it. So they didn't quite understand how there's a default of the almighty powerful government. They should have no power unless explicitly given. I like that model a lot. And I don't know of a country anywhere in the world that does that. So this could be a very first time that that's flipped that way. And yes, there might be a period of time where we have to come up and go, oh, we meant to give them this, and we meant to give them that.
Sure, amendments can be made, but it's to provide them with, not to try and remove from.
Correct, or try to protect us.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they have all power, then we have to focus on what do we need protection from. And if we don't catch them all, like, vaccine mandates, then we have to come back later and add them. If it's the other way around where they have no powers unless we say so, you have the power to build bridges. You have the power to create an army against external threats. You have the power to tax for the purpose of paying for those, or create institutions or create businesses that generate profit for paying for that. Like there's a whole bunch of things that we could come up with right out of the gate that makes sense. But if we do it that way, then they can't come along and do regulations or mandates or decrees later or orders from council, because that's just not how it works. They can't just grant themselves power. That would be one of the powers they don't have. You'd have to go through a process with the people to get that power. And the people are the one that have to bestow it upon them. I really like that model. So I really hope people are paying attention. Alberta, if there is a separation and a new constitution, it shouldn't copy and paste an existing one.
That's right.
And just change the word Canada to Alberta. That would be repeating the entire system that we're trying to get away from. It's not freedom.
Yeah.
But do watch this episode, because this was tough to pick one clip out of that episode. There was a lot in there that he highlighted that I think is a really, really good start for anybody thinking about a new constitution.
Yep.
What do you think of that episode?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. Like I said, I always enjoy hearing Bruce's perspective, the knowledge that comes out of him, and he's actually coming up with plans to try and implement change, not saying, oh, we need to make change. Here are a couple of suggestions on how I think we can do it. So that's why I always enjoy listening to him as a guest.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And he doesn't put you to sleep or me to sleep either.
No.
You're engaged when he's talking, which is awesome.
Yep.
All right. So Wiretap Media, our good friends. Wiretap,
yeah, well done.
We love you guys. Guy, you're doing good work over there. He does a lot of thread work where he puts a long thing together, kind of pulling out all the information and presenting it to you. So he's done one here about the Pfizer papers. His title is Crimes Against Humanity, and this is with Dr. Naomi Wolf. Did I say that correct?
Naomi Wolf.
Naomi Wolf. I reached out to her, see if we can get her on. I'm sure she's very busy, but we'll see what happens. But here's the thing. The Pfizer papers. This came out in 2022, maybe late 2021. And Pfizer provided it. This is not like a group of people got together to write a bunch of stuff about Pfizer. These are their papers.
Exactly, yes.
This is what was released by them. And what I'm pleased about is more people are taking those papers seriously and highlighting the damages that they said are in there, like the unborn, troubles with that.
Yeah.
Being careful here. Because this is what Detective Helen Gruss is being prosecuted for. She found an early copy, or when it first came out, and she read them. And this is where she got some of her information. It wasn't going down to Alex Jones' website and listening to him or anything. It was a document released by one of the manufacturers of the vaccine, and it was their study and results of what they were seeing happen. And by the way, it doesn't say safe and effective in there at all.
No, and they've even spoken about that publicly. That they've never said it was safe and effective. They've never said certain things. It's the governments that ran with that narrative.
Correct. They said experimental, use at your own risk.
Yeah.
Don't sue us. Like, this is basically their position. They're like, hey, go, if you want to try, but it's use at your own risk. So there's a very good highlight here, expose on it. And my little post here was to remind people, because we just went through Detective Helen Gruss's sentencing.
Yeah.
So what they are saying is Detective Helen Gruss was right to be suspicious. In December 2021, Detective Gruss had concerns when there was a spike in sudden infant deaths in Ottawa. She read the Pfizer papers. Her concerns grew into suspicions. There's stages. I didn't get all the way to charges, but she's working her way through an investigation. Initiating an investigation then led to a lengthy prosecution against her as she continues to fight for her job today. Ottawa Police, it's time to save face, drop the prosecution now, pay off Detective Gruss's legal fees, and apologize. It's only going to get worse and more expensive from here on. The truth is out, and there's no putting this cat back in the bag. So, Ottawa Police Services, I know your friends CSIS and RCMP watch this, so maybe you guys can have a conversation. It's time to cut this one loose. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better for you. You're losing more and more support. It's costing more and more money. It's time to end this one.
The union should have stood by her to begin with, considering who else they have stood by and defended. The union.
Yeah,
the union should have been there.
So the police association, yeah, you guys dropped the ball big time. Thank you to Probe Media, who enjoyed the Bruce Party interview and is sharing out. Appreciate that. And also thank you to Nico, who put out a clip. I can't play this on our morning show. Just simply go watch it. So this clip is about we don't have in Canada a sex offenders list that's public. It's within the police. The police have access to that kind of information, but the public doesn't. So this is a very fiery, and it's not even a debate. It's just trying to figure out why don't
the public have access so they can be aware? It's like other nations do.
Yep. So, and it's also the premiere episode, our very first episode of this new show on Saturday. It's going to be Nico, myself, and Jeff Evely will be the regulars, and we'll bring, hopefully every week, 3 guests to come and have conversations about the topics of the week, the things that we need to pay attention to, and we get into it a little bit more unfiltered.
Sure.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good to see Corey Morgan there. Gov Corrupt, he's always a good bunch of information. He always comes from this angle that kind of mic drops. Like this guy mic drops a lot. I guess that's from his practice of X posting. And then Tiana, she's absolutely passionate about her opinion. Some good news. We don't get a lot of good news, but Robert Dino, how do you say that?
Dinell? I don't know.
Okay, so he was somebody that was charged for his participation with the convoy in Ottawa, and he got to the sentencing stage, and the judge threw it all out. Took too much time. The judge found that it was the Crown who was delaying things, which means this was a Jordan decision under the charter. They took too much time, so they threw it away. He's a free man, and he's good to go. Chris Dacey will be joining us on Thursday. Great. We may get Robert as well, and possibly Ray Blend as well to join, but definitely Dacey will join us on Thursday to update us on this and the other battle that's going on in there with Saba.
Yes.
We'll get an update from that. He did promise to come back. He's come back. And I see our lovely guest will be with you in just a moment. We got a couple more minutes here. So here's a new thing.
Shocker, not shocked.
Shocked, not shocked. Yeah. So what's his name now? Rajesh Gandhi. Is that right?
Rajesh.
I didn't have many in my class to learn from. Rajesh Gandhi is now part of the Opasi Watak Cree Nation.
I'm not even going to attempt to help Jason on that one.
Part of the Cree Nation. And he's got a certificate of Indian status card. You don't pay taxes with this. There's a lot of benefits and rights that come along with being declared a Indian in Canada. This isn't the Indian they were referring to.
Yeah, I'm surprised, not surprised. I keep referring to that, but it's true because I just thought this would be in a matter of time before this would occur.
Really?
Yeah.
Would be the fraud side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the fraud side.
Yeah. So a lot of people are pretty annoyed with this one. Jim McMurtry.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim McMurtry's joining us on Friday. So we'll be talking to him about this. He's been exposing stuff like this all over the place, whether it's residential school graves, whether it's the extra rights, whether it's the chiefs taking money and not helping. He's been exposing this like crazy. He's the one that lost his job as a teacher for denying that the hoax, that the graves were real, that they were a hoax.
Yeah.
So he'll be joining us on Friday. But yeah, here you go. Hundreds of thousands of temporary foreign workers just found a way to stay in Canada and pay no tax too.
Yeah.
So for this to happen, he had to have gotten some sort of document from that tribe where they signed off and said that they either accept him as one or I'm not sure because there's no birth. There's no.
I don't know. So I would really love to find out what was the paperwork presented. Who was the Canadian official who stamped it and said yes, this is completely acceptable, and then it was issued.
No, there could be has nothing to do with the tribe. Like this could be just straight up fraud.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm just very curious. I am not surprised that someone tried their luck to get this. I am surprised on how that plastic card got issued.
Well, maybe with all this attention that's being brought to it by Table Salt, Jim himself, and now us, maybe the Canadian government is going to review this.
I hope so.
And take a look at how this happened. Because even the tribe, maybe the tribe should be paying attention to this. If they had nothing to do with this and there is a fraud here, they should be very upset about it as well. So we'll see where this one goes. But wow, I was shocked to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm still running for office. So let me just get this ready. And let me take this down because we have a wonderful, wonderful guest with us today who is now, I don't know if she knows this yet, but she's a #1 bestseller.
Yes.
#1 bestseller. So let's go ahead and bring her on because it is time. Good morning, Nadine.
Morning, Nadine.
Good morning, you guys. How are you?
Good.
We're good. We got our tea and coffee. How about you? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking tea from my goat mug, as you guys are familiar with.
So
And
you are the
I
greatest of
didn't
all time.
know.
Yes, #1 bestseller. Let me put it on the screen here. #1 bestseller in governmental province section.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. I had no idea. Thank you. What a great way to start
Yeah.
a day.
There you
Wonderful
go.
way to start a day. Yes, and Amazon, they have a lot of categories, but yeah, you're #1, and you just released this book a couple days ago.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
this?
I think it was Saturday, I think, is when it finally got released to the public.
Excellent. So people, if you haven't, we put the link in all our descriptions, so people can go ahead and click on that and get a copy of this. But yeah, congratulations. It's not a New York bestseller yet, but maybe one step closer to it.
Thank you, guys.
No, thank you for coming on. So I did your interview. It hasn't been released yet, so it's still in the pipeline. I just released Bruce Party. So I'm almost out of Ontario now. It will be Lawrence Solomon, Donald Best, and then I'm done with Ontario. Then we have Ken Drysdale,
Yeah.
Nadine Ness, and then I'm in Alberta, and then you'll be popping up anytime soon. But it's been a good series. It got popular. People are enjoying it, and I can't wait to get yours out. Did you enjoy hanging out for that day?
Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. And I've enjoyed watching the other people that you've had on, like in Bruce and all the other guests, and listening to the different perspectives. And it's amazing how similar we are in so many ways, and so many ideas and suggestions and, thoughts that come up to kind of spark other people. It just draws people in, which is lovely.
Yeah, and it's about conversation. I'm not confronting anybody. I'm not trying to force a viewpoint on them. I literally want 50 unique, different perspectives. And each one of them so far, if you've noticed, carries a little piece that we need to know. For example, Vincent Gersey was about provincial police or new nation's police. Tom Marazzo was about the military. Bruce Party is about the Constitution. So yeah, each one of them, if you put it together, should give a 50. And yours is going to be a lot about the pension plan and what we should be doing there, which is what your book is about. So you can see how I kind of picked certain people because they had subject matter expertise that when you put it together should give a big puzzle viewpoint of what Alberta should be talking about as far as I'm concerned.
No, absolutely. And really that is what the gist of this book is about sparking conversation with your friends, your family, your neighbors. And it's not about picking a side as to whether you want separation or you just want a better Canada, a more independent Alberta inside of Canada, or you want the 51st state. It doesn't matter. We as Albertans need to start having the conversation with our friends and our family. And it's amazing because people think, well, if we don't agree, we can't talk. And it's like, of course we can talk because we can always find something to agree on. Right? I don't think there's a parent out there or an Albertan out there or a Canadian out there who doesn't want better healthcare, better education, lower taxation, more freedoms, more property rights. Who doesn't want those things? So it's really about how do you start the conversation? And that's really what I hope this book will do, is start those conversation among friends and family over some tea and coffee.
I love it. There's a plug right there.
There you go.
Don't forget to join, like, subscribe, do all the kind of stuff. Share this out there. So when I went to the Alberta Next panel for Danielle Smith and the rest of the people that are running around the province with her, they had 6 questions. And one of them was about the pension plan. Now, the other ones, the police force, constitutional change, taxation, immigration, like the rest of them, it was pretty clear that the audience had an opinion, and it was pretty unanimous on all of them, except the pension plan. That was the one that was like 50-50. I think that that's really the only major question that Danielle should be asking or drilling down into, is whether or not they should bring the pension plan here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Danielle could just sign a piece of paper and bring the pension plan over, but she's now added this requirement for a referendum. Is that correct? And if so, why would that happen?
You know, I have never understood why she did that, because she can just literally sign the piece
Yeah.
of paper that says we are leaving the Canada Pension Plan and it is done. We have our 3 years. We're just giving notice, right? And then we have 3 years to get organized, get prepared as to what that is going to look like. And I mean, we cannot leave the Canada Pension Plan unless we provide like or similar benefits. And in the case of Alberta, we could provide so much better. Like literally so much better. It can be less expensive, it can be better benefits, or it can be both. And that's really the gist for people to understand with the Alberta Pension Plan. And then they need to understand what the risks of staying in the Canada Pension Plan actually are. I mean, the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, which has a new name, but that's how most people know them, CPPIB, they have made it very clear that the economy is a huge risk to the Canada Pension Plan. And if you look at Alberta's economy in comparison to the Canadian economy, guess who's carrying the weight here? It is Albertans. We would be far more beneficial on our own because we have a smaller population who makes the highest incomes. We bring in the most money. And, you know, that's how we would be able to increase benefits and or reduce payments. Who doesn't want a smaller payment for the same benefit? Who doesn't want, you know, a bigger benefit for the same payment? So, you know, these are things that people need to start looking at. And these are not small details. You know, the Canada Pension Plan has a $1.4 trillion unfunded liability. An unfunded liability is you have a credit card for $1.4 trillion. Who's paying for that? It's going to be the future generations. So our youth in this province need to be having that conversation to say, look, and I know it's not them who are resisting the Canada Pension Plan. It truly is the older people who are already receiving it. And for them, they have no risk in going to a Canada or an Alberta pension plan. That's the oddest part. They actually have much more to gain and a lot less risk by moving and making that transition.
Okay, so cost less, get more. That sounds
Mhm.
great. But let's talk about stability or security. So how stable and secure is a Canadian pension plan, and how stable and secure would an Alberta pension plan be?
Well, the Canadian Pension Plan makes a statement that it is 75 years sustainable. So sustainable could mean, and I'm going to give you an example, is because you have to understand what the Canada Pension Plan is. It's not a pension, it's a payroll tax. You and I pay tax, and those taxes then go to pay retirees. Okay. So there's another word for that, and it's called a Ponzi scheme. I take from investors today to pay out investors yesterday who invested. Okay. It's just the government does it. So we can't call it that. And the government does it. So it's legal. So people seem to think that it's okay. But sustainable could simply mean, well, we can sustain that for 75 years. Now, I can tell you, we cannot sustain that model for 75 years. And the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, again, says that right in their own documents. That model is not sustainable. That's why the changes came in 1997. And as of 2026, we are going back to that model is not sustainable. So you're seeing premiums continuing to rise, right? So that they can continue to put these little surpluses away for investment purposes. And even on investments, Canada Pension Plan lost $13 billion last year in private equity. Now, private equity is some of the riskiest investments that you can make. And I mean, I can tell you horror stories about, I know where some of that money went, and it's going to, it's crony capitalism is what it is. It's going to their wives, businesses, and to some of the directors' businesses. It's just absolutely criminal, in my opinion. And yes, we can do so much better here in Alberta.
Yeah, I'm sure Ponzi and Madoff were probably going, wow, if only we could have legalized it like the government did. But yeah, you what you highlight there is you're taking from today to pay off yesterday and leaving nothing for tomorrow. And even by them saying the 75-year plan, they've also identified there that it's not perpetual. This can't go forever. They even already have a built-in end date, and that kind of scares people. Now, one of the things the media is doing around the whole sovereignty independence movement is they're using the Canadian pension plan to put fear into pensioners, and basically saying, look, if Alberta left, you're going to lose that and you're going to be hungry, and a lot of people are believing that. They're buying into that. And that's what I saw in Edmonton, was about 50-50. When I spoke to people, most of them that have the pension are worried about losing it.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more, even if we stay within Canada, this 3-year period, you got to prove that you're going to have the same or better services. And can you kind of talk to people that may have their pension and are worried about this, what that transition would look like, whether we're in Canada or not?
So I will tell you, there is a lot less risk for Alberta just to leave the Canada Pension Plan. So again, those risks are demographics, it's the economy, right? And on the demographic side, you've seen this influx of immigration. The hard part is quality matters. It is not a quantity game in this particular case. The quantity game, just adding numbers to that, is making matters worse. We're seeing the standard of living of people go down. Why? Because the government is concerned about GDP. They go, oh, the economy is moving along nicely. Look, our GDP is 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever it might be. And I'll tell you right now, Canada's GDP is only propped up by Alberta, and it's 0.5%. It is dismal. There is nothing productive about this country. And that is being driven by policy, government policy. The Liberals in the last 10 years have just destroyed the economy. And the OECD, which is the organization that tracks the developed countries, 37 to be exact, and they have already said that Canada, last 10 years, sure, we can't change that, but the next 30 years, all the way through to 2060, we are the worst performing country for productivity. So, even job numbers, look at job numbers. The government is who's doing the hiring. The government doesn't produce anything. The government is a cost. So who is going to finance, who is going to fund those activities that the government is doing?
Oh boy.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
So wake up, pensioners. Pay attention. We're not producing as well as we should. It's going to get worse as Canada. This is why maybe Alberta should be focusing on what we can do here. Are there a couple comments or questions?
Yeah. So there's a comment here from Greg. What I don't get is people talk about the economy, but they haven't read the Bills and Exchange Act. How can people talk about money when they don't even know what money is? No offense, but read the Bills and Exchange Act. Can you add anything to that?
Well, this is a good point because people don't understand money. Something as simple, the Bills and Exchange Act, I read those things because that's what I do as a chartered investment manager. And I understand money. I understand how money is being used, how it's being manipulated. And the biggest manipulation is government gave these central banks permission to print money on the government's behalf. Why? Because at one point, if the government, who does have the right and responsibility, in my opinion, to print dollars and control the currency, it's called Treasury. What they did was they abdicated that responsibility because they would have to go back to the people and say, you know what, if we are going to do this ABC, then we have to increase your taxes. Do you want to do that? Not want to do that? Well, it's kind of hard to buy votes in Quebec and taking money from Alberta when you have to ask permission. So by abdicating that responsibility, handing it off to a central bank, all they do is they print the money. They run the printing presses. The money gets printed. At that moment, the minute the dollar is printed on that printing press, that's when inflation happens. But people, something as simple as inflation, they don't even understand that that's the cause right there of inflation. It is the government that has created it when they printed the money. But because they don't see the effects of that action for 18, 24, 3 years, then, the government gets away with it. So it really is about accepting responsibility. But yes, I would encourage all Albertans, all Canadians, we need to get smart on these types of matters.
Pick up your book would be a great way for Albertans to understand how this would benefit them, how it can work. Now, one of the things that I did, you mentioned the Bank of Canada. You don't think the previous governor of the Bank of Canada becoming our Prime Minister, Brookfield, I think it was, they were talking about he was trying to get 750 million of that fund managed by them. You don't think any of these are good ideas?
Just at, well, what's another conflict of interest to Mark Carney's already 100 and some conflicts of interest?
Yeah.
You know,
I
when
don't
you're
think
managing other people's money, you really try to eliminate as many conflicts of interest as you possibly can. And then if you can't eliminate them, you really want to be 100% transparent and disclose what those conflicts are. But, you know, Mark Carney knows the game. He knows how the system works from a number of different angles. And, you know, he is one of the global elites. I still, it still shocks me, guys, Pauline and Jason, how he even got elected. It really does. You know, people got caught up in his resume, and I'm like, I thought that's what we should have been like running from. Like, we should have been so scared of that resume because he knows who's who in the zoo, and he works for those who's who. And let me trust me, they do not have our best interests at heart.
100%. So if Alberta did its own pension plan, and I really hope they do, that also means that Alberta would be in charge of where is the investment going? How would it help Albertans? How could we get returns and get a better building? Because the pension plan is supposed to be take some money today, grow it so that it's available for you later. Basically an investment vehicle, right? So that Alberta could focus on things that help Albertans and help the prosperity of Alberta going forward, as opposed to let Canada run it for whatever Canada thinks they need it for.
Well, I'll give you an example on the numbers. Right now, if you took the 40 million population that we have, 22 million, you know, probably are entitled to something from CPP. If you take a look at all the assets, let's say that $700 billion that CPP-IB is managing, that is roughly about $28,000 per Canadian. That's what's there. And now I'm going to be that person that says those assets, I dig into those very carefully because, you know, I think there's some, you know, creative bookkeeping that can go on with some of that. So let's just say it's 28,000. If Alberta were to leave tomorrow, and let's just say take, you know, it's $120 million dollars. And take that and run. Every Albertan would be worth about $50,000. So you've already increased your bottom line, right? There's less risk if there's more money to draw from, right? It'll go further, go longer. But here's the thing. If you die at the age of 55 and you haven't touched your CPP, you get nothing. Right? That's not a pension. A pension to me is something that I have squirreled away for the benefit of my family in the event that something does happen to me. Right? So I can do better myself. Again, I'm going to look at the returns. You know, the CPP for the last 5 years has been underperforming the benchmark. You could have put the money in the stock market yourself, done absolutely nothing with it, just in an exchange traded fund, you know, an ETF, and you would have done better. And it would be your money to spend today if an emergency came up and you needed it, your money to leave to your kids if something happened to you, and you don't get any of those benefits. So again, we have to be really careful, in my opinion, when we call this a pension, because it's not a pension plan. It is a pay-as-you-go. Yes, there is a little bit of an asset there that, you know, in 1997, they established a board, but even maintaining that right now, you have the CEO who makes, you know, $600,000-$700,000 in salary, but ends up making $6 million a year in salary and bonuses. And we have 8 offices around the world. We have, you know, is that really necessary? I know private wealth managers who do not have anywhere near those kinds of costs or expenses. So yes, we can do it cheaper. We can do it better. It would benefit Albertans far more. Yes, there are some reasons for Canadians to be concerned if we're going to pull those kinds of assets out of the Canada pension plan. But you know what, Albertans, that's not your concern. That's not our concern. What we need to do right now is start correcting some of the wrongs in the policies that have been made at a much higher level and start looking out for ourselves, our children, and the future of this province. There's no need to go down with the ship.
No kidding, for sure. There's a reason why there's lifeboats. Let's get off. Now Quebec, let's just use Quebec as an example. So when it comes to transfer payments, they're considered a have-not. Okay, they collect a lot of money as a have-not. But this have-not province runs their own pension plan. They don't have the CPP, they have their own pension plan. So anybody wondering if Alberta can afford or do it, why wouldn't we? We are a have province according to that formula, but yet a have-not province has no problem running their own pension plan. Does the Quebec pension plan compared to the Canadian pension plan, does it perform better? Is it better for Quebecers? And is it a good idea for them to keep going with that one?
So, what you have to understand with every investment plan, it's going to be given what's called an investment objective. Okay. And so Quebec's investment objectives are a little different than Canada pension plan, which would be a little bit different from Alberta's pension plan. But Quebec allocates a certain percentage of its pension funds to reinvesting in Quebec. Okay. And so that is something that Alberta certainly could do. It doesn't have to do. I'm a big advocate of, you put the money where it provides the least amount of risk and the best possible return, right? But you have to spell out what those objectives look like. So Quebec, you know what you said there is beautiful. Quebec is a have not, which it is, that's not true, but they pretend to be a have not province and they manage their own pension plan. And here is big, supposedly booming, oil wealthy, natural resource wealthy. And you know what, guys? I know the wealth of a country is caught up in its natural resources, but I'm going to tell you where the real wealth of a country resides. That's in its people. And Albertans are resilient, they're young, they're hardworking, they're entrepreneurial. That is something that sets us apart from pretty much every other part of Canada. We are not the aging baby boom, sit back on the sofa, kick our feet up, enjoy retirement and, drain the resources. We are still out there producing. We're working hard, we're making money, highest incomes in the country. That's what's really important.
Okay, so we lost your camera there, but we can keep going. One of the things that came out of the Bonnyville event with Danielle Smith, Mitch Sylvester, and a couple others was how much money overpayment of the pension plan has Alberta done to the Canadian pension plan. And Danielle Smith had to bring a lawsuit to try and get that number out of Ottawa. And I don't believe we fully understand exactly what that number is. And there's a second part of that, which was Ottawa doesn't want to include the interest on that principal as part of Alberta's money. They say, well, listen, if you're going to take out the principal, you're not getting the interest. That's ours too. Are these two things correct? Because that's what I think I recall from the Bonnyville thing. And do you know what these numbers are? If Alberta was to pull out a Canadian pension plan, is it 140 billion? Is it 350 billion? Like I hear both of those numbers thrown around.
Well, the reality is, and I apologize here, I'm going to get this camera fixed here for me. The reality is it doesn't really matter what number we get because Alberta could start tomorrow completely on its own. And we are actually still taking less risk, in my opinion, and we'll do better by Albertans by doing an Alberta pension plan. So absolutely, we could start tomorrow. And then if you take the numbers that like Trevor Tone threw around a little while back, that $120 billion, that is still one of the largest pension plans in the world. Like that is not an insignificant amount of money. And a big part of it, people sorry, I've just got somebody coming in. I have no camera. So then what happens is that $120 billion, people will find us, investment opportunities will find us but people seem to think that we need to have size, but yet the Ontario Teachers Plan is one of the best managed, in my opinion. Their investor group has on average, $700+ thousand per member. And, again, they've done well with it, smaller group. It's not about the size of the pension plan, it's how well it's managed. The number of people, that you're servicing does matter. And then we can structure it differently. Maybe we structure it as an IPP, for example, individual pension plan. So it's something that can be, handed down to your family or, you get more than a $2,500 death benefit out of it. But the reality is it was written into the Canada Pension Plan Act itself. What the formula should any province, not just Alberta, any province wish to leave. And as a result of that, that 300 and half of the pension assets is absolutely 100%, in my opinion, should be what Alberta is fighting for. Now, whether we get it or not is a different story. But the reality is, of course, Canada is going to fight for the least amount possible. And we need to fight for the most. And the Canada Pension Plan has put the formula in there themselves from the beginning. And all we did with the LifeWorks report was took that formula, applied it, and yeah, Alberta is entitled to more than half of those assets, $350 billion. So that's what we should be fighting for.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. And I also believe it was Ontario that pushed to have. Oh, you're back. It was Ontario that pushed to have that in there, that be able to leave, and then Quebec certainly executed on it. Now, can you kind of reassure Canadians and Albertans that no matter what, that will be there for you? So even if Alberta separates, but the Canadian pension plan stays, like, will you still get payments? Like, what will happen there?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, that money doesn't go away. You have paid into your Canada Pension Plan. As long as the Canada Pension Plan remains solvent and in operation, that's your bigger risk. Remember, there are risks. There's a lot of assumptions that the Canada Pension Plan has made in order for you to continue to get the benefits that you're getting. And I know there's people go, well, I got 7 years maybe left, and I just want to get my pension plan, until I die. And I'm like, but then what happens to your children? And then what happens to your grandchildren? Because they're the ones financing it. And, their premiums. So when the Canada Pension Plan went up, the reality is that people paid nothing for it. You got a benefit. It was a complete privilege. You got something for nothing. Now people are having to pay substantially. It's another tax. It's a 12% tax on your income, up to a certain level, and that is being used to fund somebody else's retirement. But the program is there, and the government won't take it away. They could take it away, I guess, because there's no guarantees. This is the problem. It's a privilege. It's not a right. So that's the hard part, to say that it'll always be there. The Canada Pension Plan is going to be there. They want you to think it's going to be there, that it's 75 years sustainable. They've gone through great lengths to hide the unfunded liabilities. It showed up as a footnote, not even in the report, but as a footnote. And then they haven't published it since 2021, I think. So, these are things that they are not drawing attention to. But I mean, I think if Alberta were to, again, you get a sheet of paper, it's blank, we get to rewrite our own rules. And of course, we are the most productive. We are the wealthiest province. Those are things, our demographics, we're younger. We've got better immigration, and better quality of people that move into the province. So with all of those things, we are reducing the risks that the Canada Pension Plan are completely exposed to right now, with very little options for them to make changes. We, at Doing Something New, have a complete opportunity to just rewrite the rules and to set something up so much better for Albertans.
I'm very optimistic about that. There's some more comments there, Paul.
Yeah, so hey Nadine, us baby boomers kicking back us baby boomers kicking back right up to our 50 years in. So I take the draining resources a little personally. I'm sure you didn't mean it that way.
No, not at all. And the thing is, you have to remember, you have paid the money that you have paid into CPP, that has gone to pay for somebody else's retirement. I'm Jason, Pauline, you're now paying for that person's retirement. That's the Ponzi scheme that I was talking about. And so, for me, it's about responsibility, right? If we do have a responsibility to our seniors, right? And that's great. But there are better ways to do it than the way that the Canada Pension Plan is handling it. And if you've paid into something for 50 years, I'm sure you would like to see your return. I'll tell you a really sad story about this. This gentleman's paid into a CPP for 50 years. If I just took the numbers today for me, and I paid in, and I put it into, like I said, an ETF, I'd probably have $1.3 million when it came time to retire in my bank account that I could use, I could spend early. I wouldn't have to wait to 65. I have complete control over it. I can use it for whatever purpose I wanted. He will be lucky if he gets back the amount of money that you and I have contributed to pay for his pension.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, and you can't pass it on. It's when you're dead, you're dead. It's $2,500 benefit. That's the end of that. They keep the rest, so it's not a pension. Thanks for highlighting that.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody, we put it into the description, but go pick up a copy of her book if you really want to deep dive into this. And it's Alberta Rising, a principled vision for a sovereign and free nation, reclaiming liberty, redefining government, and realizing the true potential of a free Alberta. Nadine, thank you so much for taking the time to put that together. We're at the end of our time here, but can't wait to get your episode out, and we'll definitely have you back in the near future.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. You have a great morning. Enjoy the tea and the coffee.
Will do. Take care.
I got my coffee. She's got her tea. Well, there you go, babe. That was an excellent little segment there with Nadine. Wake everybody up. If you're a pensioner, you're paying into it. It's not a pension. It's not guaranteed. They even have a end date on it, 35 years.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not a pension when you can't pass it on or use it early. It's basically just a tax, as she put it, a bit of a Ponzi scheme, and it's going to the benefit of Ottawa's interest, not Alberta's interest.
Correct.
So a lot of things are highlighted. So I really appreciate that, Nadine, and I hope you guys got some good information there.
Yep. Quick question for you before we head off.
Me?
Yes. Hey, what's the Saturday show called?
Saturday Night Live Mashup, Source One Live. Source One is our new network that we're putting together for independent journalists, independent minds and thoughts and speakers. But I think it's Saturday night, Saturday live, Saturday late night mashup. There you go. Saturday late night mashup. And it may change.
I was going to say, I think
premiere.
TBD, TBD.
Yeah, it's Saturday, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's the most important thing. Come check us out. But yeah, the name might be work in progress.
Yep. And thank you again, Will, for the super chat. Really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, again, does this 2 days in a row?
Yeah.
He's paying for our coffee and tea. Thank you very much, Will.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Otherwise, yeah, everyone have a fantastic day and see you tomorrow morning.
Have a wonderful day. Take care of each other. Love you all, and God bless.